Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith has been offered $4.5 million to transfer out. I don't think he's going anywhere, but who tried to steal him? And this opens up a bigger issue. I'll let you know what Ryan Day had to say about all of it, and I'll let you know what I have to say about all of it. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked on Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked on Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below while you're watching. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with the FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com and get started. Jeremiah Smith is staying put at Ohio State, right? Right. Now, the Buckeyes did lose a defensive coordinator over the weekend, and we'll have our top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend. We'll see if my list matches yours. But heading into the weekend, let's talk about this a little bit. Just days before the Ohio State Buckeyes were scheduled to celebrate their national championship in front of their fans at Ohio Stadium on Sunday, numerous reports flooded the internet that someone, an unknown team, offered Buckeyes freshman sensation wide receiver Jeremiah Smith a $4.5 million name, image, and likeness deal to enter the transfer portal, leave the Buckeyes, and join their team. Which team? Lots of speculation about that out there. Now, a lot of people are kind of pointing at the Miami Hurricanes here. When they also tried to recruit Smith back in the day when he was a 5-star out of high school. They didn't get him. He went to Ohio State. And Miami's been very active in the name, image, and likeness game. They just pried quarterback Carson Beck from Georgia to the tune of $4 million. And Georgia wanted to keep Carson Beck. So he went to Miami. So they're very active. So they're very suspicious here. And Smith isn't the only one. Well, there was also the story that their other receiver, Carnell Tate, reportedly has $1 million offer to transfer as well. Now, the internet is full of speculation there, too. That might be Oregon. Oregon Ducks might be trying to get Tate. Now, all that aside, all that reading on the internet over the weekend aside, let's actually do some actual journalism here. Despite the old saying that where there's smoke, there's fire, and we gravitate toward that a lot. But we should report that there is no official report or claim that Miami or Oregon are trying to poach or tamper with Smith or Tate as of right now. We can also report that Jeremiah Smith did answer an X post from an associate that suggested that Smith and his family, they're just too loyal to go ahead and bolt out of Columbus, just chasing the almighty dollar. Smith answered that tweet with the red 100 emoji, insinuating that, or at least we're led to believe that he 100% agrees with that comment about his loyalty and that Buckeye fans can breathe a sigh of relief because he's not going anywhere. That's where we are with this right now. We should state that a school cannot try to directly lure away another school's players with name, image, and likeness offers. To do so directly would be against NCAA rules, if that matters to anybody. Now, a player can enter the transfer portal on their own. A player can negotiate a name, image, and likeness deal on their own, but another school can't try to steal another team's player by just throwing name, image, and likeness money at them and try and pry them away. Now, we're not naive. I'm not naive. I know this happens all the time. This is how it works. So do I think it's going on? Sure. Do I believe a school offered Jeremiah Smith $4.5 million to go leave Ohio State and go play for them? Absolutely. But it looks like nothing's going to become of it right now. Besides, Ohio State, they're taking care of him too. I think he's getting $3 to $4 million already, and they'll probably up it for Jeremiah Smith. But this kind of thing happens all the time. Now, Buckeyes coach Ryan Day, not too happy about this. On a recent radio interview, he said one of the biggest issues in college football is enforcement of the rules or lack thereof. They said that enforcement is strained right now. And he says until something is done, schools can just call agents or players' parents, offer them a ton of money, and it just spirals right from there. That's how it happens behind the scenes. Doesn't have to be direct one-on-one. People can be sneaky about it behind the scenes a little bit. 2 to 3 degrees of separation. There's no paper trail on any of this stuff. Right? They also reiterated that NCAA enforcement, it's just non-existent. And he says there's no penalties or repercussions, and this whole situation is getting worse. Although some might argue, some people named Craig might argue that instead of enforcement being non-existent, I would argue that it's very selective. Some guys get hammered, some don't. I seem to recall Jim Harbaugh getting suspensions handed out like Halloween candy last year at a pretty rapid pace. People were after him. There was enforcement, right? I digress. Don't want to dig that back up from last year. So being a college football coach today, it's an impossible job. It is absolutely impossible. We're going to continue to see coaches move by the wayside. We're going to look later on in this week about the vote that happened last week. It was unanimous. Coaches want to just pare down that transfer portal period. We got 2 of them right now. They overlap with bowl games. It's ridiculous. Another subject for another day. We'll get into it and how we're going to have a solution to all that. But again, as the things are right now today, it's impossible. And we're going to start losing more coaches to the game. They're going to go to the NFL where it's easier, believe it or not. But think about it. I mean, your livelihood is based on recruiting 16 and 17-year-old kids who are just learning how to drive, for crying out loud. And you press them for a verbal commitment while they're in high school. Then you try to prevent other schools from flipping that commit, which you can't stop. It's going to happen. I mean, it's a business on all sides. People are coming at them from everywhere. So recruiting that kid is a continuous job right up until signing day. And then there's the money that's offered to that kid from your name, image, and likeness collective and the collectives of other schools trying to flip that kid. It's nonstop. So if you're a coach and your livelihood is based on getting this kid onto campus, you got all this other stuff. And now we're dealing with millions of dollars. It's impossible. I don't know how coaches sleep at night. At the same time, you're looking to recruit kids in the transfer portal, older kids, experienced kids to come to your school. And that's just become a flat out name, image, and likeness bidding war right up until the minute the kid arrives. You're never sure. You say, oh, I'm going to come here, but then they change their mind and they go somewhere else. They flip. Happens all the time. We talk about it every day. So again, add that to what coaches have to deal with. And then as soon as the season is over, you got to re-recruit your own kids to stay because some are looking elsewhere and you don't want them to go and hit the transfer portal and leave. So you got to re-recruit them, maybe come up with some more money for them too. And by the way, that's all going on while coaches are trying to coach, practice for games and bowl games and playoffs, poring over game film, learning your opponent. You got to do all that while you got to do all these other things. It's why Ryan Day stepped out of calling plays. He's got so much other stuff he's got to do. You don't have time to prepare for a game like you used to. Well, by the way, that all worked out. They won a national championship. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned the difficulties of keeping your staff together. Again, if you're good or if you win a national championship, other schools, they're not only going to try and steal your players, they're going to try and steal your successful coaching staff. And that is happening at Ohio State, by the way, as they suffered a big loss over the weekend. More on that in just a second. In the meantime, we'd love your comments on all this. I know there's a lot of rumors out there about schools and which ones they are and all that. I would love to hear from them. That's what the comment section's for on YouTube. Hit me up. If anything else, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And you can follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you'll get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. Don't forget to share, like, and follow as well. That really helps us out. And don't forget to hit our website, talkbig10.com. We have all of our podcasts go there and links to merchandise from your favorite school. Buckeyes fans, Oregon Duck fans, get your shirts, hats, t-shirts right there while you're listening to a podcast about your favorite team. Go ahead and buy a shirt, t-shirt, hat, jacket. because you want to get all geared up and looking good. It's all right there on the website, talkbig10.com. All right, so while we've been talking about the Buckeyes and try not to lose players, also try not to lose their very good coaching staff with Ryan Day. Well, they did lose their defensive coordinator to Penn State, of all things. Interesting story there. They got to replace Tom Allen, who suddenly left. And the Buckeyes also found some time with all this going on to celebrate their championship on Sunday. And we'll have our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. We'll see if my list matches yours. All that coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm going to tell you about Intuit TurboTax. Tax season is coming. Doing taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting and wondering and worrying some more. Absolutely. I used to go through this all the time. Now Taxes is matching yourself with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on the progress so you can focus on your day. An expert will find you every single deduction possible and file every form, every investment, and everything with 100% accuracy. I've personally used them for 20 years. I can't imagine doing taxes without them. I hate doing taxes, but I love it with TurboTax. It's great. So all of you can get the most money back, guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now, this is what taxes is all about. Now, get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates, only in iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right. I want to thank you, first of all, for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they're losing their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, to Penn State, of all places. Stayed in the Big Ten. Got to be a little bit of a bidding war, it looked like. And they're looking to fill the vacancy, of course, because Tom Allen suddenly left for Clemson shortly after the Nittany Lions semifinal loss to Notre Dame. Knowles is expected to make twice as much as Allen made at Penn State, so they're really shelling out the big bucks for him. It's in the neighborhood of $3.1 million a year for 3 years. It's a great contract. It's a staggering figure. That'll make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. A lot of head coaches don't make that kind of money. Knowles has a base salary, or had a base salary of $2.2 million at Ohio State this past year, but with the bonuses and the national title run, he got close to clearing $3 million. Pretty good. The Buckeyes reportedly offered him a deal that would have made him the highest paid coordinator in the country and placed it higher than the $2.5 million that Michigan's Wink Martindale is making, their defensive coordinator, and LSU's Blake Baker. Again, both are over $2.5 million a year. Buckeyes offer that to Knowles. But in the end, Penn State kept upping the number. They wanted him. They needed him. They needed a guy. They've been replacing defensive coordinators every year over there. Wanted to settle that down. And also, Notre Dame and Oklahoma were also interested in Knowles' services, driving up his asking price. Great to be him, man. Great position, great bargaining position for him. It'll be money well spent. He's good. The Buckeyes, they own the number one defense in the country this year, finished first in scoring defense, allowing just 12.9 points per game. They're also third in run defense and third in passing yards allowed. Now, he had some pretty good talent to work with there at Ohio State, and he'll have some good talent to work with at Penn State as well. The defensive lineman, Dennis Sutton, is coming back. Zane Durant is back, along with corner A.J. Harris and linebacker Tony Rojas. And, the offense is going to be good, too. This should be a big year for Penn State. They got Drew Aller coming back, both running backs. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton will be coming back. Now, Knowles, he's a Philadelphia guy. Maybe that was part of it. Wanted to get closer to home, his roots, whatever the case is. I haven't heard, but he's from Philadelphia, so maybe that's part of the deal. So the question now is, who's going to replace Knowles at Ohio State? One name being floated about is Oregon co-defensive coordinator Chris Hampton. We will see how that plays out for the Buckeyes. See, we just spent all this time talking about maybe Oregon's trying to steal Ohio State players. Now Ohio State may take a coordinator and a coaching staff member. It's crazy. It's insane out there right now. Now, while this is going on, 30,000 fans for Ohio State. They braved the elements at Ohio Stadium on Sunday to celebrate the national championship. And it's like 30 degrees. Oh, just brutal. But hey, 30,000 were out there and enjoying it and celebrating the national championship, fans and family members, all that. And look, man, it was time to soak it in. The 2024 team was great. It'll never be the same again. In addition, though, to the departure of defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, well, this was all going on leading up to the I don't want to say parade, the gathering for the celebration. 13 of the 22 playoff starters on this Ohio State team, they're out of eligibility. That's it. It's over. And a lot of important people like quarterback Will Howard, defensive end Jack Sawyer, who is of the sack, force fumble, scoop, and score fame against Texas. A little statue for him for that big play. Wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is out, and running back TreVeyon Henderson and linebacker Cody Simon are all gone out of eligibility. There are also a few quality players who are going to leave early to go to the NFL, like running back Quinshon Judkins and corner Jordan Hancock. Still, the fans, they celebrated this team that beat the best of the best along the way to their championship in the first ever expanded 12-team playoff. Big wins against some really good teams, destroying Tennessee of the SEC. We like that around here. Anytime Big Ten going against SEC, we love that when we come out on top. That's no matter who it is. And so they destroyed them in the first round. Got the big win over Oregon, Big Ten foe in the Rose Bowl. Beat Texas in a tough game in the Cotton Bowl. And, of course, Notre Dame in the national championship. All quality teams. It was a great run and worthy of celebration on Sunday by the Ohio State Buckeyes and their fans. And I don't know if you realize this or not only did Ohio State win those games handily, combine them all together, and Ohio State only trailed for 6 minutes. They were either tied or had the lead the rest of the time. Actually, it was 6 minutes and 5 seconds, if you want to be technical about it, over those 4 games. Total domination. Absolutely total domination. By the way, it should also be noted that Ohio State was the first team to win a national championship when we had the 12-team expansion playoffs here. They were the first team to win a natty when we expanded from the 2-team BCS to the 4-team playoff as well. So it seems like every time we make a change, Ohio State's the first one to figure it out and get a national championship. We'll still have 12 teams in 2025, but there's going to be a lot of changes and seeding. And we're going to get into that here on Locked On Big Ten in the coming days. But they're going to keep it at 12 one more year because they have to contractually. I guarantee you 2026, they're going to expand. Those knuckleheads, their solution to everything is to expand, even though I argue that's the exact opposite move they should make. But it'll be 14 teams. So we'll see maybe with the first 14-team playoff in 2026, maybe the Ohio State Buckeyes win a national championship there. Anytime we make a change, they win. As for 2025, who knows? Despite all these departures, there's still a lot of talent there at Ohio State. I'm excited to see redshirt freshman quarterback Julian Sayin. He's expected to be the guy, although people around Ohio State are tamping down expectations a little bit. It's all in the name of competition. Over there, they don't like to hand anybody a starting job. Got to earn it. I get it. But I think it's going to be Julian Sayin, of course. It's his turn. He sat out this year. And he should be good to go. He's very talented, 5-star freshman. A lot of expectations and ability. And unless Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate leave for more money in the transfer portal, they're going to be excellent targets for this young quarterback. So that's all good. The Buckeyes also picked up a couple of weapons in the portal that you may have missed. They got West Virginia running back CJ Donaldson and Purdue tight end Max Clare, beefing up the offense a little bit. On defense, they returned maybe the best defensive player in the country and safety Caleb Downs. They also have Sonny Styles and Davison Igbinosun back there in the secondary. So they got some talent coming back, even though their entire defensive line's going to the NFL, man. They're all gone. They're all out of eligibility. That's it. They got to play next man up on that deal. So would love your thoughts, Buckeyes fans, on all that as well. Meanwhile, as we're talking here on a Monday, some great Big Ten basketball coming up tonight, Monday night, men's basketball. We got Penn State at 21st ranked Michigan. That is at 6:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Iowa is at Ohio State. That's an 8 o'clock Eastern game on FS1 tonight. Then UCLA taking on USC. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, FS1. And a couple of women's games tonight as well. Purdue at Illinois. That is an 8:30 tip on the Big Ten Network, 8:30 Eastern. And then Indiana is at Washington, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific on Big Ten Plus, if you want to check out some of the basketball going on. So it's that time of year. We got to start getting dialed in on basketball. March Madness is going to be a little more than a month and some change away. We're ready to go. All right, coming off a weekend, we always like to have a feature on Monday. My top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. I will share those with you coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Let me tell you about FanDuel. It's exciting enough watching games, but with some FanDuel, it's even more exciting. And now we have Super Bowl 59. It is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with the FanDuel Sportsbook, whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, even betting on the coin toss, the color of the Gatorade. All these things are right there. FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill of, from everything, every detail, from kickoff to the final whistle right there. Personal touch, they got some live betting features that let you stay involved no matter what happens on the field. The app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's icing on the cake right there. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com and get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, let's do this. We always do features. If you're new to us, we always do features in our final segment. Top 10 Big Ten observations on Monday from the weekend. Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we do power rankings. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network, Big Ten Classics, and live action. And Friday, we make our picks. Go on the line, on the record. Used to be pigskin picks. Now it's basketball these days. We'll have all that. All right, if you're audio only, I'll describe this in detail as best as I can. And we'll go full screen here with our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend and see if you agree with this list. All right, we're going to start on, and these are no particular order. I kind of just group a top 10, if you will. First of all, let's give a shout out to Michigan State women's basketball. Theron Hallock with 23 of her 25 points in the second half this weekend as Michigan State beat number 24 Michigan. In fact, I want to group these together because that's the next one I had here since Michigan State. That was a tough game, a battle of top 25s, and Michigan State won that one handily by 30 points. So a shout out to them, 88-58. And I want to go UCLA women's basketball here. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I put them in here back to back. Two things I wanted to mention, one individual and one team. First of all, UCLA women's basketball, Lauren Betts, career high 33 points as they beat 8th-ranked Maryland. Of course, UCLA is ranked number 1, and that's the other thing I wanted to mention. They are now 20-0 after that 82-67 win. Very impressive. Number 1 in the country, 20-0. UCLA women's basketball is on a roll. All right, what else we want to give a shout out to from the weekend? Maryland's Rodney Rice hit a big three with 7 seconds to go to win at Indiana, 79-78. You know I'm an Indiana grad, but I gotta give a shout out. That was money. That was a big time shot by Rodney. Indiana's lost 4 or 5, by the way. They are on the struggle bus. At number 5, a shout out to Wisconsin basketball as a team. They made 17 3-pointers to beat Nebraska over the weekend, 83-55. Rather easy win there. Nebraska's dropped 6 straight all of a sudden. They got to get things figured out. At number 4 on our list, Purdue's Braden Smith scored 24, had 10 assists and 7 rebounds. He was circling a triple-double. Didn't quite get there, but they had the 91-64 win over ranked Michigan. That was a Friday night game. So shout out to him, Braden Smith, heating up in the middle of winter. Minnesota, Dawson Garcia. We don't mention Minnesota basketball much because they're at the bottom they're not good. Whether we do our power rankings or the standings, they have struggled. But Garcia, a season high 31 points as they beat 15th ranked Oregon. Minnesota beat ranked Michigan last week. So they got a couple of ranked wins all of a sudden. So maybe something's going on in Minnesota. We thought we'd give them a shout out at number 3 here on our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Also, Michigan State basketball, they've won 12 in a row. They beat Rutgers at Madison Square Garden on Saturday. Tom Izzo's team is red hot. The last time they won 12 games in a row, they went to the Final Four. They're rolling. Nice job. And at number 1, I know he doesn't play at Penn State anymore, but he used to. Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, a 3-touchdown game performance, rushed for over 100, a 3-touchdown performance in the game, the NFC Championship game, rushed for over 100 yards again. And Saquon, former Penn State Nittany Lion, and now, of course, former New York Giant, and now Philadelphia Eagle, going to a Super Bowl, representing the Big Ten. Those are our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Let me know what you think. Did I leave anything out? I don't think so. It's pretty complete. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Love to hear your comments. Hit us up on YouTube with the comments. Many ways for you to interact with us, of course, at Twitter or X, at Talk Big Ten. Our website, talkbig10.com, where our podcasts and, of course, merchandise, all right there. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, please. It's free. It helps us out, and it helps you out because you're locked into us and all things Big Ten. Stories, news, opinions, analysis, all under one umbrella every single day right here on Locked On Big Ten. Tell your friends about us as well. So subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. That'll do it. I enjoyed our time as always. I never take it for granted. Thank you for joining us, and I can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll talk to you next time.